for anyone out there who has struggled with knowing whether or not to date a guy who has cheated before in the past, or even how to find out and how to navigate that, okay, this episode is for you, and it's gold because there is a reality TV show, and if you haven't seen it, you just have to see this one episode, and it's crazy. It's called Vanderpump Rules. I've been seeing it for years, right? I just saw the latest episode with Tom Sandoval, and they, it's just like a freaking scandal. So they say it's scandal. Something that you guys can take from this episode today that you're listening to is, once a cheater, always a cheater. Yes, absolutely. If they do not freaking learn from their mistakes, own it, and seriously don't try to justify it. In the episode, you see Tom Sandoval justifying his bullshit behavior. He is so just I'm actually still I just saw it and I'm just oh my gosh, I have to record this episode because you ladies out there have to be aware, and you have to ask the questions, and you have to follow your intuition. But more than anything, you have to love yourself. And Ariana is his girlfriend for 10 years, okay? Even if you want to see it and you haven't seen it yet, this is not going to ruin it. You still need to see it. You should see it because you could see the behavior of a man, right? Tom Sandoval, how he's I'm just turned 40 and I'm having this whole crisis, and justifying his behaviors for hooking up with one of Ariana's best friends. So Tom Sandoval, Ariana have been together for 10 years, okay? And he cheats on Ariana for 7 months, has an affair with this girl, Raquel, and right underneath Ariana's nose, okay? So this is the premise. This is what's happening. So I'm just going to give you key snippets of how you can learn from this for your own love life. Okay. Back it up a minute. And if you see Tom Sandoval right before Ariana, he had a girlfriend named Kristen. He cheated on Kristen with Ariana. Okay. So the writing's always on the wall, you guys. So many times, a guy will tell you who he is by his actions. Okay. Now, why did Ariana just tolerate a lot of shit throughout the years with Tom Sandoval? She has found out that he hasn't been completely faithful throughout the years for whatever. And she says it on the show time and time again for years. And she actually wrote it out on today's show when she did some special thing, manifesting, and Kristen even goes and helps her and says, what do you want to manifest? And she says, I think she wrote down true self-love. If Ariana truly loved herself and really knew her worth, she would never have tolerated so much that has happened throughout the years with Tom. And I have so much compassion for Ariana, and I want you to understand that. I don't want to, but it's there's so much power right now that, Ariana, instead of being oh my gosh, Tom, how can you do this? Which of course, Tom is a total piece of shit, right? For cheating on her after 10 years of them being together. They bought a house together. She trusted him. She always defended him and all his bullshit behavior. And she's completely humiliated. I feel for her. But I think instead of, blaming and anger towards him, it's a decision that Ariana can make right now and say, okay, I have tolerated so much. And I think about this for you. Think about it for you. Have you been in a relationship in the past where you have tolerated so much disrespect? Maybe you've wanted a certain life, certain way, certain things to play out in your relationship, and he didn't value you, or he didn't show up for you. Ariana was going through all this loss. She lost her grandmother. She lost her dog, Charlotte. Tom Sandoval didn't show up for her. And she just tolerated it. She was just okay. And at the end of the day for anybody listening, okay, you have to realize number one, step one, if you want to have an amazing, loving, happily ever after relationship, you have to love yourself. You have to know how freaking valuable you are, how worthy you are. Because then when you're in a situation, in a relationship where someone is not showing up for you and not loving you the way that you really want, it's time to say bye-bye. That's it. You're just like, this isn't what I want. But if you don't feel worthy, you're just like, well, he kind of shows up for me sometimes. That's, I guess, something that's good enough. Because at the end of the day, if you don't feel like you're enough, you're just going to take whatever comes your way. Like, I don't want to be, oh my gosh, what is it, heartless or something, or not compassionate towards Ariana. No, I really feel for her. And I totally think Tom Sandoval is a total piece of shit, But I bet you if Ariana was hanging out with more like people like me that just give it to her straight, like try to say, instead of being like, yeah, everything's perfect. Sometimes you have to have friends that challenge you. You have to, this is why coaches and therapists and people that challenge you, like, hey, what's going on, Ariana? And she had, like, Lala was one of the friends of Vanderpump that brought it up to her. And I really I think Lala's great for so many reasons. Lala keeps shit real. And Lala said to her, hey, Tom could have gone with you and been there for you during your loss, and he chose to stay at the party, where Raquel was, by the way. And Ariana doesn't listen. Ariana just wants to support blindly Tom Sandoval. And at the end of the day, that's the thing. As many times that people may even try to warn her, right? She just doesn't love herself enough to be like, what am I doing? Why am I wasting my life with this guy who is not showing up for me? So, like, as I was watching this, I was like, you know what? I know I've been in relationships like this in the past, where you just tolerate shit and you just stay there hoping that eventually they'll show up for you, or hopefully they'll love you, or whatever. And I know that this will resonate with people out there, because you may be in a relationship right now that is a half-ass bullshit relationship. Like, I need you to be honest with yourself. Are they showing up for you? When you are down, when you are having a rough day, are they showing up for you? On this season of Vanderpump Rules, Ariana struggles. And throughout the season, even before he cheated on her, before I knew he cheated on her, I was like, F this guy Tom. Like, he's not showing up for Ariana. Like, that's enough to say bye-bye. That's freaking red flags. And he's complaining about her, and he always makes it about himself. He's so selfish, and he tries to pretend that he gives a shit, and he doesn't. Like, he is beyond self-absorbed. There's so many things that can go off about him, but I don't want to put my energy towards him. The point is that Ariana, at the end of the day, didn't love herself. And I really hope, when she put that down to manifest true self-love, that's where she should put her energy. Her energy should go towards herself. Okay, why did she tolerate so much bullshit for years? Okay, and really reflect and really see, oh my God, how can I love myself? Do that inner work. Like, heal those freaking wounds. And look in the mirror. Like, she talks a lot about self-image, like her body image, and how she's kind of like disgusted with herself. Like, she's not comfortable with herself. Those are things that you really have to be aware of. If you look in the mirror and you don't feel absolute, like, I love myself, I'm beautiful, something is going on there that you need to really address. You need to reach out and talk to somebody about that. Ariana was saying it on the show for years, how she struggled with herself, her body, and not loving herself. She's saying this for years, and nothing has changed. And the only thing that's happened to her is that more time with the wrong guy that only repeats the story, by the way, that she's not enough. Now, after 10 years with a guy who cheated on her with her best friend, only repeats the story, I'm not enough. Okay? And I really just feel that this, when you watch it play out, if you don't watch Vanderpump, I think you should. It's really freaking good. And actually the season's been the best one yet. But this past episode, it's going to resonate with a lot of you ladies out there who have perhaps been in relationships where you've been lied to, or even relationships that you are trying and they're not showing up for you. Things like that. The point is, I don't want you to get into another relationship like that. This is when you learn from your freaking mistakes, and that's powerful. You can't change that douchebag that hurt you. You can't, you can't like, oh my God, like that guy that did you wrong, right? You putting your energy on him and being angry isn't going to change anything. Okay? This is when you put your energy into, wait a second, why did I freaking tolerate this shit? And actually, was the writing on the wall? Like, think about it. Like, Ariana hooked up with Tom while he was already had a girlfriend, Kristen. And yes, Tom Sandoval lied and said, oh, me and Kristen are kind of like about to break up. And they just kissed in like jacuzzi or something. By the way, just kiss. A kiss is freaking important, by the way. Oh yeah, they didn't have sex, so it's not really cheating. No, it is. Like, you can, if you're dating a guy, or if a guy is like investing his energy and emotionally connecting, even chatting with someone else, spending a lot of time with somebody, kissing somebody, like that's already cheating, you guys. Like, that's it. Like, I feel like, oh no, but he did not penetrate. It was just a tip. Like, no. It's like, it is enough. It is considered cheating in my world if a guy is putting energy to another woman other than you. So like let's just already start there, step one. Because I think that in the society we live in, it's like we're tolerating so much. Like, oh, everybody cheats. Like, oh, all the guys do that. You kind of have to just be willing, like you have to accept it. And that's not true. That is so not true. And if you think that this is the story that you're telling yourself, and you're only going to keep on getting into situations and relationships that validate that story that you're telling yourself. Okay, so I'm here to tell you that no, not all men cheat at all. You are just choosing the wrong freaking guys. Why you're choosing them? That's a whole other freaking episode. Like, that's a whole other thing. That's you having to do that inner work. Why are you choosing guys that are cheating on you? Why are you choosing guys that don't show up for you? Why do you tolerate it? Why do you stay there? At the end of the day, it's all about your self-worth. Once you realize how worthy you are, how you're enough, you will not be wasting another second with the wrong guy. I'm excited to see Ariana on the next season. I really, truly hope that, she's such a beautiful soul. She really is. She's always been one of my favorites. And she's been so vulnerable and seeing her journey. I truly hope Ariana gets, that help. Like, I hope she really does something for herself, where she gets a coach, gets a therapist, does the work for herself, really love herself, heal. Because the next relationship she'll ever get in, right, it's going to be one that's healthy, that's a guy showing up for her, because she'll know her value. And it won't be a freaking Tom Sandoval. The reunion's happening next week. And let me tell you, actually, when you're hearing this, it'll be in a couple days. Whatever. What I'm saying is, Raquel, that freaking girl, by the way, who is the friend, right? Quote unquote, quotation marks, whatever. She is like supposedly pretending to be Ariana's best friend, and behind her back having sex with her life partner, Tom Sandoval, right? Raquel is beyond like not understanding her own value, her worth. And it's sad. And Lala saw it too, and she was saying it. Raquel is a hot mess. And hopefully anybody around Raquel, they said it, like Lala said, it's like, oh, I would never have you around my guy. Because Raquel kissed, like this is a whole thing. Raquel kissed a guy, Tom Schwartz, and knowing it would hurt Katie. So Raquel kind of gets off on, like just looking out for herself, for her ego, hooking up with guys that are kind of taken and whatever. And it's because she doesn't love herself. And that's it. Raquel has her own shit issues. But I just don't care enough about Raquel to even waste my breath about her. She's awful the way that she did that to Ariana. Ariana has been always this beautiful soul. And I am like really rooting for her. Raquel, I can care less. Like I'm like, no, I really hope she's just like gone, actually she supposedly disappears. She shows up on the reunion. I want to see what happens, but, I'm not going to talk about Raquel, but for the ladies, just so you know, this is the biggest lesson for you to understand. If you have a girl around you, right? If you have a friend, an acquaintance that's hanging around you and they are miserable or they're not feeling good enough, and they're not feeling worthy, be careful. Because if you are having a thriving relationship, or at least you have a relationship, people can be really envious. And Raquel was this little, like, what do you call it? A wolf in sheep's clothing shit. Because she all pretends to be nice and sweet and then hooks up with Tom. And you know what? They play it off like they try to say, oh, it just happened. We were friends. Bullshit. I call bullshit on Raquel. She is a straight up little bitch. She is. I have no compassion for her. I really don't. Because the way that she played it out, the way that she kissed Tom Schwartz after she talked to Katie and Katie asked her, don't do that. She just, she doesn't care. She's completely selfish. She's immature. She's a hot mess. To tell you that, and for you guys that watch Vanderpump Rules, James, which is Raquel's ex-fiance, I end up liking James like more because I feel for James. James is a sweetheart at the end of the show. So I just feel like, Raquel's a hot mess. Raquel is like, if you have anybody in your life that is a woman that is not happy with themselves, be careful. And if you watch the show Vanderpump, you will actually see what it looks like, how they behave. Oh my God, we're just friends. And they're flirting with each other. And there's like the writing is on the wall. Seriously, a lot of times the writing's on the wall, but we choose not to see it. Ariana had a lot of moments, red flag city, with Tom Sandoval. She chose not to read the signs, see the signs, and stayed with him, loyal and trying to make it work for 10 years. This show is awesome to see and be like, oh my gosh, is that happening to me? Okay, you can learn from these people's mistakes. Okay, so when you're out there looking for your partner, right, ask the question, ask the guy and say, hey, how was your last relationship? Why did it end? Have you ever cheated? Don't do it like that, obviously, like interrogation, right? You want to space things out and share about you. The point is, though, they shouldn't have any issue talking to you and sharing unless they have something to hide. And if they have cheated, right, don't jump to conclusions and judge him and say, oh yeah, he's an awful human being, get away from me. Say, well, what happened with that? Like, why did you cheat? What happened? And if he justifies it, like Tom Sandoval, the asshole, oh my God, it's just that I wasn't, getting love. Like we weren't intimate anymore and it just changed. And I wanted an emotional connect. I wanted to connect with somebody else. Like, okay, guess what? That's bye-bye time. If a guy is justifying why he cheated on his ex, right? That means his moral compass is all off. Okay. And guess what's going to happen? He's going to do the same shit to you. And don't think, oh yeah, but he did that to her, but he won't do that to me. He will do it to you. Okay? You have to go into it knowing that. So what you need to do is ask him the questions. If he says, I did cheat, Worst thing I ever did. No one ever deserves that. I was like tripping on acid, and I was high as a kite, and I made a mistake, and I regretted it forever, and she never deserved it, and I should have been honest. I should have broken up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it depends on what they say, you know, but if they're justifying it, that means you say bye-bye. Don't waste your time. That is the writing on the wall. There's too many women that I talk to that are in relationships with people or have been in relationships with guys that cheat on them. And when I ask them, have they ever cheated in the past before? The answer is always, almost always, yes. Yes. Okay? Oh no, but I didn't find out until months later. Why didn't you ask earlier? Why don't you find out? It's like, don't be scared of asking those questions early on. And not only that, but like when they tell you who they are, believe them. They really do tell you who they are. Okay? And when Tom Sandoval is justifying his bullshit behavior, he's an asshole. And he's saying it. He, you know, in his own little words, like, listen to him. And Raquel, to stay with him and actually pursue a real relationship, which it looks like that's going to happen. They're going to talk about it at the reunion. I'm not even surprised because Raquel doesn't love herself. She's struggling with that, you know? So obviously, Tom, you know, want to play it out? I'll bet on this. Tom and Raquel have a relationship. Guess what's going to happen? Tom's going to end up cheating on Raquel. And here we go. Round and round we go. You know, it's just like, come on, ladies. Come on now. Okay, I got that off my chest. I feel better. I really, really hope that you can reflect on your relationships. This is when you can start changing your love life. When you take a step back, you reflect and you say, oh shit, have you done what Ariana just did? Are you a Raquel? Are you doing that? Are you the other girl? Do you not love yourself? You have to ask yourself these questions. Okay, this is the time, okay? And journal about it. Like, seriously, write about it. I hope you do. Okay? So as you're putting yourself out there, do not settle for anything less than crazy love. Okay? Because it has to be crazy love or nothing.